Hey everybody, how we doing? Welcome to episode 4 of Sports Entertainment Center. The band is back together. Me and Vinny are finally able to get back on a Thursday night. So awesome to be back. Happy Halloween to everybody that celebrates. Awesome to see everybody. Got my little Mad Hatter hat from part of my costume. Vinny, how you doing, man? Long time no see.
Yeah, no kidding. It's been a couple weeks of just life getting in the way, and hey, you know what? It happens, but that's the beauty of it because you and Mike did it last week, didn't you?
So I actually went solo last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because of time restrictions and stuff like that. So I went solo, which was wild. I haven't done a solo show in a bit. So
yeah.
But Mike has his own stuff too. He has to move his show around too. But yeah, life is great. But we're still able to get on here and talk some wrestling and everything else. So I'm excited.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. So obviously, big thing going on this weekend. Obviously, Saturday we got Crown Jewel. For the first time ever, we have 2 Crown Jewel champions that will be crowned. The men's and women's champions from the respective Raw and SmackDown brands will fight for the prestigious 50 carat belts from the Crown Jewel committee. These belts are massive. I mean, these guys, it's almost like it goes up to the chest almost with these ones.
It looks huge. Like the side plates are about as big as the center plates on a normal belt.
I can't wait till that goes on sale at WWE Shop Zone. That bad boy's going to be right here. It's going to take up the whole screen.
You might have to take out a second mortgage for it.
Yeah, right. All cubic zirconias for like $1,000.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's just run down the line. Run down the lineup. We'll talk about it. Give some predictions. Obviously, it's stacked this year. Usually, a lot of them are kind of like, okay, have some matches, cool, but they have some good matches, so I'm excited for it.
And I like that they expanded because lately the PLEs have been five matches, which is great because you know what? And I know a lot that's like a polarizing idea in the wrestling community is that PLEs only being 5 matches, but you know what? It gives them a bigger fight feel. It allows the matches to be longer and tell more story with them, and it makes the guys and girls that are on those shows to actually feel more important to be there. And I'm not going to get into the about the other complaints, but the fact is that they expanded the Crown Jewel to 7 matches. So, they're doing more, and I'm looking forward to it on Saturday.
No, I agree. And the thing is, to a lot of people, what they have to understand, which VKM made that very, very known when he first signed this is a show for Saudi. Like Saudi, when you see this, they have their own, a Saudi season, I think it's called. They have their own. UFC does the same thing. Like those guys, the princes, whoever pays that money, they have a request for what pretty much. I mean, UFC is a little different, but with WWE, hey, listen, we want to see X, Y, and Z. We want to see this guy perform, this guy, and hey, by the way, now you're going to introduce our own title that we created. Forget your belt. Now you're going to use this belt for every year. It's almost like a cup, almost like a World Cup for who's going to win. So it's I like it. It's going to be cool. I like that little. I like it. I know it's a gaudy belt. People are talking about it. I think it's cool.
It's ugly.
Yeah, but the Saudis want it, and hey, they're paying a lot of money for it. So you know what? If they want to have some fun, let them have fun. Whatever.
That is what you call the new $1 million championship.
It really is. That's wild, man. Imagine the wrestlers that win that put that in their house. Like that's got to be wild, man. Like, that's over anything else they've won. That's crazy.
Yep.
So let's start with one of the matches most recently that was talked about and added was the 6-man match with pretty much the Bloodline 2.0 and the OTC Bloodline. Usos are now back together with Roman Reigns in somewhat of a capacity. Not so much on the same page yet, but they're definitely heading to that point.
Mm-hmm.
The Bloodline 2.0 with Solo and the other guys with him. This match I think is going to be good. It's going to be to see who Roman gets his hands on with him being gone for so long.
Yeah.
Obviously, him and Solo is going to be the payoff here. You want to see those two in the middle of the ring fighting. As far as a finish, again, it's tough to look at finishes here, especially with some of the stuff with.
It's going to be a non-finish.
Yeah, they thought about that. I think maybe depending on where the match falls on the card, I don't know.
I feel like it's going to be a non-finish. It looks like John's frozen right now. But there you go. You're back.
Okay. I think the OTC. I think OTC Bloodline gets this. I think Roman gets a win. I think it's a good feel. Bloodline kind of Solo getting frustrated with them getting that win and upsetting that group. And I think obviously we all know going into War Games that's going to feed into that. Whatever member is going to be named is probably the week or two after that. But I have the OTC. I don't know if it's Roman per se, or if it's an Uso, but I have the old school guys getting a win. What do you think?
To be honest with you, I think it's going to end up coming down to like a double disqualification, like a smudge, kind of finish. I do feel now I'm going to say it this way. I don't know what the current political religious climate is over there in Saudi, but I have a feeling Sami Zayn's going to make his presence felt and come in to help the OG bloodline. This way solidifying the 4 that'll go to War Games against Bloodline 2.0. And I say that because I don't know if Sami can go there, because I know there's the problem. There had been a problem with him because of his religious beliefs or whatever the case was. I don't get into all that, but
2 years ago he came out.
Right.
He came out in his natural garb.
Right.
They've pretty much given him. They absolved him. They've let him go, so he's able to actually come and go as he pleases.
Yeah, that had to do with the certain Muslim sect that he belonged to. I think it was Palestinian Muslims couldn't go there. I don't know. I don't get into all that. But, as long as that's still good, I have a feeling he's going to be there and get involved in that match. Especially after what happened on Monday. Him being seen talking to Solo. And I have a feeling he was probably just saying, hey, you guys don't have to fight. We were all in this together at one point. We could, you guys could work things out together as a family. He was trying to be a peacemaker. I'm thinking, but I think he's going to end up going with the OG bloodline.
So on that note, let me talk to you about this though. What are your thoughts about? Again, it could be construed a certain way. I'm sure they're doing it that. What are your thoughts about him talking to Solo being seen by Jimmy? What do you think that conversation was? He was talking to Solo in the parking lot.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I think it is. That he was telling.
Well, that's what you say. But as far as family, don't
have to.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
You guys don't have to fight. Come together. We were all running good at one point, and trying to play peacemaker.
Could be a thing. I don't know. I feel like when they had the interaction, he's kind of like, this is a family business. Like, it's kind of let us handle this. But I feel like Sami kind of is a lock. I was questionable on it. We talked about it before in a couple of prediction shows. But now with him without a belt, kind of hanging out, I think maybe he does kind of pop up and makes his presence felt in that match. So that'll be good. I think that match, regardless, is going to be good though.
Yeah.
Another great match. Seth Rollins, Big Bronson Reed. This match is going to go. I think this is going to be an awesome match. Yeah. It's great to see Reed finally getting his hands on some main event talent, getting the recognition he deserves. He's put in the work. Love to see it. I think Seth still vanquishes the Dragon here. I don't know if there's any kind of nefarious interference or anything like that, but I think he figures out a way, gets it done. But Reed is still good there. Even taking an L to Seth, it's still going to continue that, moving forward, still getting hungry, still want to be in the title picture. But I think the match is going to be awesome with these guys getting in the ring together.
Yeah, although I'm going to have to disagree with you, I think Reed is going to go over. I at this point, I don't think a loss will hurt Seth. He's been, in and out this whole year, kind of rehabbing injuries. After WrestleMania, he's kind of been coasting, which is fine. He's there to kind of help bring up the younger talent. And with Bronson Reed just getting this monster push, no pun intended, I really feel that, he had his big win over Braun Strowman. And I think that having a big win over Seth at a PLE like this is going to catapult him, leading into the Royal Rumble, where he's going to be an odds-on favorite to win the Rumble this year.
Absolutely. No, I agree. The Rumble, women's side, I don't want to start talking about that because I want to talk about that in a week or two, starting to get some little preliminary Rumble stuff.
Yep.
Women's, I think I know where that's going to go. We'll talk about that in a match in a couple minutes. Men's, I feel like is wide open.
Oh yeah.
This men's Rumble is probably one of the hardest to call if you're a podcaster or a predictor. This is a tough one this year because you have to understand. I feel like they use the chamber very in a very useful way for this person gets it here at the Rumble, but the chamber is just as important to win that one down the road in that match.
Yeah.
So the Rumble's going to be tough this year, but yeah, I think it's going to be a great match. Good showing for Reed. Rollins obviously is an amazing talent when he gets in the ring. So those two are going to be great together.
Oh, yeah.
Another great match. LA Knight, Melo, Andrade, U.S. title. This match is going to be amazing. Those three, obviously, Knight has gotten his hands on one and the other like at different times, but all in the ring with what they can do is going to be awesome. I don't think it's a time where you're going to see Knight lose the belt.
I agree.
Yeah, I think he retains. But this match is going to be awesome with the three of those guys in the ring.
Yeah.
But again, I think Knight winning is still going to put something with Melo on Andrade. You're going to need a some kind of solid number one contender, probably on SmackDown at some point. But Knight definitely holds that belt into 2025. What do you think?
I agree. I don't think it's time for Knight to lose it yet. Andrade and Carmelo, they're both fantastic talents. I just don't think they're really hitting with the fans yet. Like Melo was fantastic in NXT, comes up to main roster, and he's almost flat. Andrade coming back from AEW at the Royal Rumble, gets a somewhat big push. He's a current speed champion, I think, still. I don't know why they don't bring that up at all. I mean, probably because they film it so much in advance that they don't want to necessarily bring it to a live taping. But I really think that it's going to be a great match either way. All three of them are fantastic athletes. I really think that LA Knight's going to take the victory. As far as who takes the loss, I would probably have to say it's going to be Melo, but I could be mistaken.
No, that's why I had taken the pin. I got Melo eating the pin.
Yeah,
it's we've talked about it too. It's sometimes funny with Melo was wicked over as a face and even as a heel when he was doing his thing with Trick before he got the call up. And sometimes some of these guys just don't transcend right away with the WWE, the Raw SmackDown guys who don't watch. I do think moving forward with NXT being CW and a lot of other the ECW stuff going on next week and a little more stuff being put on NXT, I think you're going to see them transition a little easier.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the fact that before, obviously some people were brought up a la Karrion Kross and some other guys, almost like they changed the gimmick and changed the whole thing. They're being brought up. Melo has the same entrance, the same thing, the same gimmick. You know what I mean?
Because Vince wasn't on the same page as Triple H.
Right, exactly.
So now that Vince is gone and Triple H has control of the whole thing, but basically Raw and SmackDown, while Shawn Michaels is in charge of NXT, it truly is a seamless transition from one to the other. So, you're right. They have the same gimmick, the same entrance, the same everything. It just has to be brought up to that bigger stage.
Yeah. No, I agree. Eric Young, I just saw an interview with him with CVV, Chris Van Fleet, and he was talking about the fact that he got called up pretty much. I mean, it was a victim of circumstance, but he got called up and it was almost like Vince didn't understand what it was. He didn't get what was going on with Sanity, and that's what kind of the demise of Eric Young in WWE along with other things. But that's the one thing I like with the Shawn Michaels Triple H dichotomy of, okay, you're doing this, let's bring him up here and keep the same energy up here. So but I think eventually, Rumble will be a good time for these guys. I think 2025, Andrade will start getting some touches. I think Melo will start coming into his own. So I'm excited for it. Another great match, Orton, Kevin Owens. This match is going to be one of the matches of the night. This is going to go.
And, for as much as we were talking about the athleticism of the previous triple threat match, this match can be all story. It's going to be all story.
They're going to let it breathe. Absolutely. I'm excited for it. I'm waiting for the Orton heel turn. Now, it's not going to happen at Crown Jewel, but I mean, I know it's coming at some point. But I think Kevin Owens gets the win here because he needs to keep the momentum and keep his way into Cody after Crown Jewel. No matter win or lose, he needs to keep that momentum. And I don't know if it's going to be a Survivor Series or whatever pay-per-view they announce for December, but I think they keep that energy going into the end of the year. So I think Kevin Owens gets the pin here. But again, Orton can take that L and still be, like I said, eventually the heel turn is coming. He doesn't need to keep a lot of momentum as a face. Yeah. Eventually, we all know what's coming eventually for Orton and Cody. I mean, in my eyes, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, Kevin Owens, I think gets the 1, 2, 3 here. But I think the match itself, like you just said, the story-wise, letting it breathe is going to be amazing.
Oh, absolutely. I agree completely with Owens picking up the win, keeping that momentum going. And here's the thing is that when they first had the turn, obviously Owens turning on Cody in the parking lot. That was the fan cam, and then the next week on SmackDown where Orton was holding him back when he hit Orton. That was inadvertent. That was an accident, you know. So then when he actually confronts him, and Owens like you stuck with Cody and you took his side and then beat him down. That just fired up the Viper. And you know, here's the thing: while Randy Orton is fantastic when he's fired up, he may not be looking at Owens. It's more of the remember back in WCW when the Outsiders broke up and Scott Hall had his drinking problem and Hall went to Hollywood while Nash was with the Wolfpack and they had that Halloween Havoc match. And it was just literally 3 jackknives and Nash walked out. I think this is going to be similar to the fact of I'm just coming to kind of set you straight, but Orton is not going to really be ready for what Owens is going to bring out.
Yeah. And I put a post up the other day, I think it was last week, about that. I like the vignettes of like from him from home. And obviously this, if you followed Kevin Owens, aka Kevin Steen, like it gave me the Ring of Honor fired vibes, like just like getting back to that gritty, dirty heel character. And I think that's what they're letting him do right now. So it's again, like I don't think Orton's gonna get in the ring and not ready for what he's about to encounter with this Kevin Owens.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited for it.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm pumped for that. I saw those vignettes and I'm like, oh, it reeks of it. I loved it. So before we talk about the champion matches, Bianca and Jade, Damage Control, Metaphor, Chelsea and Piper Niven, women's WWE tag titles. I think it's gonna be a great match. You have a lot of on the ground stuff, a lot of ground and pound. You have a lot of aerial stuff, especially with Damage Control as well. All that for I think Bianca and Jade retain here. I don't think we see any maybe cracks in the armor yet. I think they're doing what they can to get to that Bianca Jade match at WrestleMania. I think that kind of you see a little bit of that kind of little something pop off at the Royal Rumble. Maybe they're both put in the Elimination Chamber for the one shot. But I think this is kind of the way to kind of segue into that. But again, watching those 4 teams is going to be awesome. Piper and Chelsea do amazing work together. Yeah, no, they've done great.
Yeah, and I don't foresee this being the breakup for Cargill and Bianca either. And you know, it's like I saw an interview recently with Bianca Belair with one that Bobby Lashley did about Bianca Belair, saying that she was offered to join the Pride with the Street Profits and everything, and ultimately she said no because she didn't want to turn heel. She wanted to kind of maintain her almost John Cena status.
Okay.
But hindsight being 2020, I'm glad that she didn't because ultimately that group flopped. Bobby Lashley left, and now the Street Profits are back to babyface with B-Fab. But I do feel that Bianca Belair needs a refresh of her character because it's almost like, and I get it at this point, she's helping Jade Cargill because Jade is, even though she's been in wrestling for 3 or 4 years now, she's still green as a pepper tree, as Jim Cornette would say.
I know. I agree.
You know, she's got the look, she's got some talent, but apparently she can't memorize, strings of moves or, anything in the ring. So she has to get better than that. And I know Bianca's there specifically for that purpose, but she could be doing so much more. They got to get her. They have to break the team up once Jade is ready. And then she needs to go on a massive heel run. Even though I feel that Bianca would be a better babyface and Jade the heel. But either way, she needs a refresh of her character. One way or the other, she needs just a reset, even if it's taking some time off and coming back. But she needs a refresh.
No, I agree. I was huge on her when she won the title. Obviously, it was wicked over. And I feel like after that, again, it's the same. I don't want to say same old, but it is the same old.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to go heel, you got to a la John Cena. Like
Yep.
John would sit there and he's very one of the most polarizing figures ever in WWE.
Yep.
He never turned heel. I feel that's gonna be part of his legacy, and that's a whole other episode. Probably next week we'll start. I want to start talking about the John Cena run that we're gonna be looking at in 2025.
Yep.
Kind of how that's gonna shake out. But she needs to shake it up a little bit, and Jade needs to kind of figure it out because her as a heel is amazing. What she did in AEW as being a heel was great with the baddies and just the whole it was awesome.
She's better as a heel.
Oh, absolutely, 110%. Awesome, definitely. I feel like the face thing, it's cool. We like the presentation, but her coming out just kicking the hell out of somebody is just way better than her being nice and thumbs up. It's just naturally better.
Absolutely. But she didn't get the proper training in AEW. So that's the one thing too. A lot of people have already, people, whether if it's a tribalism kind of thing, it's still, she's been there. It's almost like she has to relearn everything. Yeah.
I mean, she's gotten better. I mean, you see her, she's getting better in the ring with her movesets, coming off the ropes, doing her other stuff, not being looking so planned. But it's a whole rehash of learning. You come in, AEW learn on the fly for 3 years, coming to WWE. WWE does it a little differently. So, but hopefully she figures it out because I'm sure that I get rid of her anytime soon. So,
yeah.
All right. So, men's and women's Crown Jewel Championship. We'll start with the women. We have Nia Jax for SmackDown. We have Liv Morgan for Raw, fighting for the first Crown Jewel Championship. I've been going back and forth about this. I can tell you I think the winner is going to be Nia. I think that just the build with this regime ever since she's been back, with the Queen of the Ring, with the title run, how they've built her up. Liv doesn't need the win with the Judgment Day, with running with the cronies, running with Raquel. Nia definitely takes it, but I think Nia leaves Liv in such a decimated portion. I think whether it's an attempt or a win, I think we see some sort of Tiffany Stratton cash in.
I was just going to say that.
Yep. Just me. I don't know. Does she win the Raw title? Maybe. I'll talk about that. After we talk about the men's, I'll talk about a little bit about the Rumble, a little bit, how I feel that's going to happen. But is it an attempt and maybe it doesn't happen? Maybe Nia's like, what are you doing? Nia obviously wants to see her go for Raw. She doesn't want her coming after her for her title.
Right.
But I have a cash in. There's a success rate attempt. I have something going on with the briefcase, but I have Nia winning the women's first ever Crown Jewel Championship. What do you think?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Tiffany wins the Crown Jewel Championship.
Okay.
I think if she inserts herself in the match early on, and whether it's pinning Liv or pinning Nia, she's going to have the championship. It's going to end up being a 3-way because they can't stop it. So here's the thing is obviously neither the Raw nor the SmackDown titles are on the line. Mm-hmm. And if Tiffany comes out and inserts herself, let's say there's a spot where Nia's almost knocked out outside. Tiffany can come in with a ref, cash in, win the title, and then go on to insert herself into that match.
Yep.
And then beat Liv. Will it happen? I don't know. That may be a little too much, too overbooked. But I agree. I think there's going to end up being a cash in at some point. I would love to see Tiffany walk away with one of the world titles plus the Crown Jewel title. But if I have to pick one of the two that's there, I have to go with Nia, especially because Rhea won't be there to interfere on the part of, to interfere to take Liv out because she's legitimately hurt.
Because my thought process is, and I don't want to start going into a whole thing on a tangent, but my thought is when we go to 2025 and I'm looking at the Women's Rumble, there's a big name. I'm sure you know. I'm sure she's in the back of your head. I know. There's a name that a lot of people have forgotten about. They talked about her a little bit on the comeback trail. I think Charlotte Flair wins the 2025 Royal Rumble. Tiffany is champion with that briefcase, takes the title, and you have Tiffany and Charlotte at WrestleMania. That's my thought. That's my process. I think how it's going to shake out when we get down to that point in April.
Yep.
But I think that's a match we're going to see. And I think Tiffany's going to be instrumental in winning that belt and holding it however she does it all the way to WrestleMania, and Charlotte coming back and facing her from winning the Rumble. That's how I see
think that would be, I think that would be really good, especially because that would be a marquee matchup. Almost similar to a passing of the torch.
Yep.
Charlotte and Tiffany.
Mhm.
About Charlotte winning the Rumble, maybe. I could see that potentially
Or the
happening.
Chamber. Or the Chamber.
Or the Chamber, either one.
Yep.
I want the women's Rumble to be just as unpredictable as the men's at this point. Because there are people saying, "Oh yeah, Rhea's coming back; she'll win the Rumble, and then it'll be Rhea and Liv at Mania."
That's what I heard. I heard Rhea's out with this, and then she comes back and wins the Rumble. Yeah,
that could be, but I would much rather see Tiffany win and win the Rumble, and then have 2 title shots.
You imagine
if she doesn't cash in. So, there's a couple different options there. Because the other thing that could happen is Raquel could win and then have to go on to face Liv at Mania. And then it could be a triple threat, Raquel, Liv, and Rhea. So it is up in the air.
Dare I say it again? I don't want to go to a whole Rumble prediction show. We got a couple weeks for that. But there's a certain someone who just lost their belt over in TNA. Hey,
she was on NXT.
Jordynne Grace effect, man. I don't know. Are we time here? Because her contract is up in January of 2025, and it's a matter of with the partnership. If they do jump to, if they come to the other company, they're still on both.
Right?
Does Jordynne Grace win the Rumble? Do we see Jordynne Grace at WrestleMania? I'm telling you, the women's is going to be nuts, man.
Yeah,
the Rumble this year is wild on both. I'm telling you, men's and women's, because you have NXT, Raw, SmackDown, and TNA. If it makes sense, that's wild. That's wild.
You're absolutely right.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
And then obviously what I think is gonna main event is gonna be Cody Rhodes, Gunther, both your champions for Raw and SmackDown for the men's Crown Jewel Championship. This is a weird one to me because I have a weird feeling if they're gonna pull the trigger on this to make it happen. I feel like it's some way Goldberg is involved in this match.
Yeah.
I think if they're going to do it, this is where it's going to happen.
Agreed.
Maybe he inadvertently hits Cody with something, and then I don't know. Can Gunther can afford to take this L? It's still because he's the guy that just spoils dreams. He doesn't care your story, your run, how great you are, how over. He doesn't care. So Gunther could take an L here with a spear. Cody wins, and they're just putting more gold on Cody and making more. Yeah. Kevin Owens get more pissed off because he won the Crown Jewel Championship.
Yeah.
So now it's just more and more a spoil of riches. So I mean, who do you think wins, and does Goldberg get involved here and kind of get his hands on Gunther?
Again, it's a hard one to look at because I would love to see Goldberg get involved. Because he had teased at one point doing a retirement tour, and he's in good graces with the WWE. So, I would love to see him get involved with Gunther. And with Gunther losing, he doesn't lose his world title, so at least it's not as big of a loss as if Goldberg cost him the title. I think that because they don't have, they do have Survivor Series coming up. So if you do go ahead and have Goldberg interfere, cause Gunther to lose the Crown Jewel Championship to Cody, you could potentially set up Gunther and Goldberg at Survivor Series. That way, Gunther wins, retires Goldberg, where he puts up title for his career. Title versus career. That's the way if you're going to do it. That would probably be a better bet in my eyes because you don't want Cody to win straight up. That does weaken Gunther. But you don't want Cody to lose straight up because Cody's been this, impossible champion, finishing the dream, beating Roman finally.
Yeah.
So, probably have to go with Cody winning, but there's going to be there's going to be some kind of interference.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. If you're gonna pull the trigger, and again, December, I'm trying to think. I know there's a Saturday night main event going on. Ventura's coming.
There's no PLE between Survivor Series and Royal Rumble this year.
Okay. Well, there's a Saturday main event though, right? I know. It's Saturday.
It's Saturday main event. Yeah.
They're doing something like that, with Ventura coming in and doing some commentary. But I'm banking on them coming up, like announcing a PLE in December. I don't think they go a whole month over because the Rumble's in February now, February 1st.
Yes, the first week in February.
2 months. That's a long time. I'm sure they're going to do the day one New Year's Revolution that they did like on Netflix, obviously, and then a SmackDown. Yep. So, I think this is the time you kind of bring Goldberg in, let him do some stuff. Maybe have him make a Rumble appearance. You know what I mean? Like, let's do a proper run. But I agree. I think it's one of those things where Gunther loses, but it's not decisively against Cody. Cody wins the championship, but Gunther's still pissed off. Obviously, goes after Goldberg, and we go from there. So, but I think it's going to be a great PLE. It's really stacked. I mean, the other ones before we've looked at and go, like they're pretty much running a house show in Saudi. Right. Great. Yeah. This one, kind of a lot of it is like, what's going to happen, but I think it's a lot more like, especially the Bloodline stuff, how that's going to shake out, what's going to happen. I'm excited for that. And the championships are cool. I think it's cool. I know a lot of people don't. I mean, but it's a one-time thing, and obviously, if you're going over there, they want to have their own titles, right? Too, so, makes sense. So that's Saturday. That's the PLE. That's Crown Jewel. Next Wednesday, next Tuesday, for those of you who don't know, is Election Day. So obviously, NXT is like we're not interfering with that. Next Wednesday, we go back to a touch of the Wednesday Night Wars. We have AEW Dynamite and NXT 2300 back in the ECW arena, which is almost looking like, not for nothing, an ECW Originals callback show, man. This is nuts. Everyone, I mean, they've announced so many people. RVD, Nunzio was the one on the phone with Tony D. Yep. This is going to be wild, man. I am excited to see this episode. Again, AEW has a lot to offer too. They just had Bobby Lashley debut this past Wednesday, last night. So he popped out, and obviously a lot of people are going to show up. The Hurt Syndicate is back with Shelton, with him, and with MVP. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for it, man.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward. I'm so pumped for it. Next Saturday, I get to go. I got my tickets. I'm going to meeting Paul Heyman, Jerry Lynn. Nice. A couple other guys. Just to meet Paul Heyman, I'm going to mark out. It's going to be awesome to meet him. I'm meeting Bobby Lashley too. So nice. It's a who's who this year. I'm pumped. I'm going to be broke after it, but I'm excited for it. So, But so next Wednesday, obviously, I'm going to try to watch both. Not for nothing, I'm probably going to watch NXT and DVR AEW. But what are some of the things you're excited to see on both shows, NXT and on AEW next week?
Well, AEW, they do have the Jericho's group, the Learning Tree, against the conglomeration, Mark Briscoe. I think it's Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, and one other guy I can't remember. I'm still getting used to getting into AEW, so I don't know all the major players yet. So I mean, that's a pretty good match that I'm looking forward to. Although Jericho, for all his name value is, he's really a lot more of a detriment to the company than he really is a positive at this point. I think a lot of his stock value has tanked. But I like seeing him help to bring up younger talent. With the NXT 2300 show, top to bottom, it looks fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing Bubba Ray get in the ring with Trick Williams against Ethan Page and Ridge Holland.
Yes.
I was almost hoping that, he would have said, well, Bubba Ray said no, but Bully Ray said yes. If you watched NXT this past Tuesday, in the first segment, he declined Trick Williams' offer for a tag team partner, and then came out at the end and said he would take it. I was hoping he was going to bring the Bully Ray character, but either way, it's still Bubba Ray Dudley. It's still the same guy. He's still got that intensity. We'll probably see Trick get the tables. I did put up a poll yesterday for 24 hours. should Paul Heyman show up at this event, being in the ECW arena, and I'm torn on it. The poll came out with an overwhelming majority saying yes. I'm torn on it because if he shows up on Wednesday night at the ECW arena, will that take away the pop when he comes back for the Bloodline? When you first hear him come out and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman," to bring out maybe the fourth person of this War Games team, or just come out as the wise man. Because it really depends. Are they looking for that pop, or are they looking just to get Heyman into the ECW arena? So I'm torn on it. I love Paul Heyman, and I love what he's been doing. Hell, I think at this point I have more Paul Heyman t-shirts than I have any other wrestler. I counted my wrestling shirts, and I think I have more Paul Heyman than anything. But I'm looking forward to this whole event. The Wednesday night war, I want to see AEW bring it. That's the thing, is that for somebody who's always been a WWE fan, and I got into WCW because they had a drawing power. AEW really hasn't. And we'll get into it a little later with the whole WWE ID program.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think that NXT is stacked from top to bottom. RVD coming in for this event when he was most recently on AEW programming is a big thing. Dawn Marie is going to be a special guest referee for Lola Vice and Jada Parker.
Yep.
And in a hardcore match. So I can't wait. I mean, top to bottom, NXT looks stronger, but that's only because I'm more familiar with the NXT product than I am the AEW product.
True. So that brings me actually to a big question that a lot of people have been bringing up. And I mean, you saw it when they first had the first 2 episodes on CW. We were in St. Louis. Here's Randy Orton. We're in Chicago. Here's CM Punk.
Yep.
Take away the 2300, take away ECW, strip it all away, and just use the NXT roster. In two weeks from now, if we were to run NXT against AEW right now on a Wednesday, without using something gimmicky,
right?
Do you think the NXT roster could stand up and beat the AEW roster what Tony has right now on Wednesdays?
I think that you've got, because I mean the ratings over the past couple of weeks obviously skewed with baseball playoffs and stuff.
Right.
Haven't been the greatest. I think it'll be really, really close, but I think AEW still has that core fan base. But I think AEW would still beat it if it was up, straight up to NXT. The beauty of WWE, though, they don't have to do that. So they're able to kind of stack the deck. But I think AEW still has that established fan base that will tune in to just AEW. Whereas with NXT, I just don't think their talent is over enough yet, especially because they, for a developmental brand, they do have a very loaded roster to the point where not everybody gets on TV all the time. Okay. So, you could be tuning in to see Lexis King 1 week, and then he's not on for another 3 weeks because they just rotate the people in and out. I think this past Tuesday's NXT was the first time I had seen Lexis King, actually on the show in the ring in months. Maybe
and coming out with William Regal. Yeah, baby. Nice to see Regal back on TV, baby.
Exactly. Yes.
Against his own son, which was awesome.
I almost thought he was going to turn.
Yo, for real? You thought? I know. I thought it was waiting for like a leg pull or something. I'm like, let's go. But that's my biggest argument when people I talk to a lot of people. Obviously, good friend of our show, Jessie Skywalker. She's a big AEW person. My biggest argument to anyone that's AEW through and through, and you
Yeah.
hate WWE. You hate Dynamite is the flagship. That's the Raw of That's the Raw of AEW.
Right.
To compare that to legitimately a third brand, a developmental brand,
Yes.
and you're only beating by a couple thousand, that's tough. You should be looking at NXT. You should be looking at, okay, we did 855,000. Raw did 1.8 million. How do we get to Monday? Don't worry about NXT. That's the low-hanging fruit.
Right.
Look to Monday, look to Friday. Beat them. That's where you should be stretching. The fact that it's an argument with NXT, I'm like, it's really just a developmental brand, though, guys. Like,
I could bring up another analogy. Starting in early 2025, there's actually going to be, and for those of you that know me, I do cover soap operas and wrestling. Starting on CBS called Beyond the Gates, and that's supposed to apparently that's going to be going up against General Hospital. We don't know what the exact time slots will be, whatever. So, 2 p.m. Eastern time, you could have GH against Beyond the Gates. And here's the thing. You're starting a brand new show, just like AEW started 5 years ago.
It's soap opera.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Brand new soap opera. And it's got an all-star lineup as writers and producers. Michelle Valjean, who was big with GH and One Life to Live, and so many soap operas, along with Bob Guza, who was and Ron Carlivati, who just left Days of Our Lives. Gregory J. Martin, who writes The Bay.
That's a who's who.
It's a who's who.
Wow.
Of talented people behind the scenes and a great cast in front of the scenes. So you're going to see a good bump at the very beginning to get the stories and to see the storylines. Are they going to, at the very beginning, beat an establishment like GH? Probably not. Of course, if you're looking at Nielsen ratings, it depends. It could be yes or no. Then you have to look at the streaming and so on and so forth. But when AEW first started, they had a lot of stuff going for them. Yep. They had name value. They had Cody, who was kind of keeping things somewhat sane.
Yep.
Once Cody left, a lot of stuff tanked. And you could put the blame on whoever you want, whether it's Tony, whether it's the writing team, whether it's just, whatever. I think the biggest thing is Tony doesn't know how to produce wrestling. And until he surrounds himself with people, he brought in a lot of ex-WWE behind the scenes guys, which is great. It's a good start. But the product on the screen, the writing has to be more cohesive. The stories have to be better put together. And you have to be able to promote outside of social media. If you're going to cater to the social media fans, that's all you're going to get watching you. WWE has, commercials on in multiple different markets for Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Mm-hmm. AEW, I think I've very rarely seen any ads or promotions. When they switched to Tuesday a couple weeks ago, and it was AEW versus NXT on Tuesday, the fact that they only pulled in 300,000 viewers was appalling.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with CM Punk being on WWE. It was just simply because they didn't promote the fact that they moved to Tuesday. They didn't have their announce team the week before saying, hey, reminder, we're going to be on Tuesday next week. They didn't have anything other than just a couple of tweets and posts. So you're losing half your audience who's going to tune in Wednesday, they're going to see something else. And, oh, shit, what happened? So they need to do a much better job marketing their product, in my opinion.
No, and that's the nail on the head. I was telling Jesse, we were talking about it when we were doing a Wrestle Dream recap, and I was talking about kind of the future of AEW and kind of what 2025 looks like. You know, you have the Mox Group that is bringing so many eyes to your brand right now. You have the Hurt Syndicate. You have Bobby Lashley, the defunct Hurt Business that didn't get the job done, didn't finish what they wanted to do in WWE.
Yeah.
This is such a critical time for Tony Khan. And whether Shane McMahon's involved, even behind the scenes, if he doesn't pop on TV, great. But you need to hand these reins to somebody like a Shane or even like look to MVP. Talk to Mox. My personal opinion, this Moxley group is a Shield outsiders kind of mix. It's what he wanted the Shield to be, but they were PG. So it's almost like they're doing what they want to do, beating the hell out of everyone, taking over. Kind of what it's like the Shield on roids.
Yeah.
Now you have MVP. The man's been there he's been there through three. He's been there for Vince. He's been there for Triple H. You know, he's seen how things have been done. Lean on those guys. Lean on Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley's been in TNA. He's been in WWE. You got to start listening to these guys, how to build these stories. Those two groups can very much carry the load for a good part of 2025 into their revolution.
Yeah.
And past that, you start having I hate to see things redone, but what can you do? It's been done. Everything's been done already. You're looking at one of those groups being an evolution type group to hold all the gold and run the roost. The Young Bucks just tucked tail and ran. AEW's there. Obviously, that's for a triumphant return with Tony and whoever else comes back. That place is it's take it. That's why you got to write that. It's one of these guys got to take that company and run the gold, run the gauntlet, and just own it. It's just there's so much there. There's so much meat on that bone for either one of them. I just really hope that it gets done because the eyes are starting to shift over there. And if you drop the ball and it's crap, ex-WWE rehash. Okay, back over to.
But see,
you know what I mean?
But see, here's the thing. After watching the first few weeks of this angle,
what Mox? The Mox one.
The Moxley angle, yeah.
Okay.
The Moxley angle.
Yep.
It is a Shield NWO style of a group. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But see, here's the problem we run into. If you're comparing it to how the NWO took over WCW, we saw Darby come in out of the rafters this week. So obviously Darby's in the Sting role.
Yep.
But Orange Cassidy is the leader, and the Dark Order, and Private Party. Okay, Private Party, I could see they're top tier. They're the tag champions now. Yep. But the Dark Order and these other guys, that are top flight. And where are Hangman Page? Where are MJF? Where are Swerve? And I get that it's still in its infancy, but what made the NWO so powerful at the very beginning of that angle was Hall and Nash coming out and attacking top tier talent.
Yep.
First match, Hulk Hogan turned, but on the other side of the ring were Sting, Randy Savage, and Lex Luger.
Yeah. Top dudes, top guys in the company.
Orange Cassidy is, for all intents and purposes, just a mascot. He's not. Why isn't Jericho standing up to these guys?
Yeah.
What? Jericho's ROH World Champion, first ever AEW champion, probably the guy with the most recognition on that roster. I know Omega is still battling diverticulitis or whatever. Fine, he's out, but he could be on screen as a on-screen character. The Young Bucks just left, which they're ratings killers anyway, so it's good for them to go away for a while. But if you look at where it is, they need some better top-tier talent in there. It's just they're all jobbers, and I hate using that term, but they're all mid-card or lower that are fighting off this Moxley, Claudio, Wheeler Yuta, Marina Shafir.
Pac.
Where are the Pac. Where's your top women? Why isn't Mariah May out there trying to stop Marina Shafir? Why, you know what I mean? Like,
Shafir's a beast, man. The fact that she's
yeah.
getting her hands on dudes too and knocking them out, I love
absolutely.
it. I love it. Gives me the China vibes. I love it.
Yeah, very much so. But if you want to do it right, you need your top tier talent to be there. If they don't want to lose, if their egos are too big that they don't want to lose, they don't want to do business, it's not creative enough for them, or it doesn't work for me, brother. Then, you know, Tony, you got to put your foot down.
Yeah,
you're the boss. You want this to work. You got to get everybody on the same page, and actually have a coherent story, and put the top players out there.
Yeah, I talked about it last week too. I was talking. You know, the thing is too. I think we're leading up into, again, no knock on anything. Everything kind of has to rehash at the end of the day. You kind of have to redo everything.
Of course.
We're heading toward the WCW WWE Survivor Series. Winner take all. There is no tomorrow. Mox's like, that's it. Your best five, my best five. And we're taking these originals. But like, again, but when the WWE did it, WWF, it was Kane, Undertaker, Austin, Jericho, like the top five. No matter, and it's almost like this storyline's going on and Mox is beating the hell out of the mid-card talent. And Jericho, MJF, Adam Cole are still running their storylines. And I get it, maybe with just maybe with the Bucks leaving, you're like, oh, yeah. They tear tail. Now everyone goes, oh shit, the Young Bucks left. Wait a minute. Maybe now it starts trickling down every week. You see another guy go, oh, the Young Bucks left. That's weird. Like now you start seeing the bigger talent start recognizing that. But I agree to your point 1,000%. These guys are a cancer. These guys are a threat to your company. What are we doing here? Jericho should be out there whooping ass, like taking his group and beating everyone else up. Like, you know, it's just, or beating up the
here's the other part. Here's the other part. If they wanted to do it properly, Mox has been there. Claudio's been there. They've all been there. Why couldn't this be what the Hurt Business was? Why couldn't they have Shelton Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley with MVP come in like the outsiders? Because they had never been there. Like, the way they're doing it with Mox, and I get it. You could have a splinter group in your camp trying to take over. Mm-hmm. It's happened before, and I get that. But you need somebody from the outside. So if, and there's a big if Shane McMahon is doing stuff with AEW, perfect spot for him to take the Eric Bischoff role and say, I'm bankrolling this. Yeah. You know, so that you have that one person from the outside coming in to say, hey, I got these guys on my side, so we're going to take over. Because it makes no sense if it's just, okay, they're all AEW talent. They're not working for another company. They're not, you know, a different group.
Right.
If you have somebody, even if it was MVP, why do they have to put not even just XWW talent, but XWWE acts right in front of you? I'm sorry, I love the Hurt Business, but why the hell do you have to put the same three guys together on AEW and call it the Hurt Syndicate?
Because they didn't get the. I was listening to an interview with Bobby Lashley. Just I guess when Vince got his hands on it and whatever happened, it just kind of. So it kind of just was a wet fart.
Which is all well and good, but it's like this is a new company.
That's Tony. You know, that's classic TK. Let's take it. I mean, I like how they repackaged Ricochet. The out of this world, I like it. Like kind of a little more. I like that. I really do. But I think it's just Tony was like, oh, people will, and I. Bischoff did it too to a point. Like I know if I grab these guys and I put these three together, MVP, Shelton, and Bobby, who Bobby left unceremoniously. Shelton has a lot of shit in the tank, and MVP's MVP, man. That dude's a banger on the mic. So absolutely. Tony's like, all right, let's throw them together again. And I still stand by this. I'm gonna die on this hill. Powerhouse Hobbs is coming out at some point as an enforcer.
I hope so.
I'm telling you, bank on it. But I think like that's kind of, and I get it. Tony's smart to do that. And they call it the Hart Syndicate because you can't call it business. Trails back to the Swerve Syndicate where he couldn't. I get it. But no, I mean, it's Tony capitalizing. But at the Mox thing, I feel like is a hybrid Shield where people like the group that bucks the system and beats everyone up. But I agree. It's like, where's the top?
When the Shield came in, they came from NXT. So they were new to the main roster.
Yeah.
So that's why it worked. You know?
And obviously all these guys are ex-WWE. I don't think Yuta was ever in WWE, though. He's the one guy. All the rest of them have been, though. So
yeah.
That's why with this all going down, and even like Bobby Lashley now, I'm very much convinced at some point Shane comes in, like you said, bankrolls on the Mox group.
That's the only way it's going to work.
Soft brand extension over to Collision or vice versa, and just that's where they go from there. So
I hope Here's the thing, I'm not an AEW hater.
Same.
It turned me off early. That's why I hadn't been watching it. But I want to watch it. I want the wrestling business to thrive. That's why it's like I hope it works. It just TK has to get out of the way of his own stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I'm praying. If it is Shane, if it's not on air, somebody talk to MVP. All these guys have been there for a long time. It's just they have a lot of knowledge. They saw how it worked over on the other side. You can take some of that, do it in AEW, and make it work. So I think next Wednesday is going to be awesome. Ultimately, I think the nostalgia is going to not wear out its welcome, but it's going to do what it needs to do. It's going to get the eyes on the product.
Yeah.
And I think to answer your question, go back to the poll you ran. I think Paul makes an appearance. I think it's going to be in a way very delicately where it's not. You'll see a trench. You know what I mean? It's going to be a quick appearance because to be in that house. Paul can't not be in that house in WWE. You know what I mean? He has to be there.
I mean, hell, it'd be great for them to get Joey Styles back.
Oh, I think Joey, the way he left though was tough.
I know.
Man. Joey threw the match on that fire, man. He was burning houses before Heyman made it cool, man. He walked out hard. I was like, everyone's like, oh, it's a cute promo. No, that was shoot. He went out hard and he just threw the mic and left. So I think Wednesday's gonna be cool. So let's talk about some Monday stuff. Speaking of NXT, Rhea Ripley just got her butt kicked over by Liv and by Raquel, feeding into an actual injury that happened back on October 21st. An orbital socket that is now injured, broken. It's broken, fractured.
Yeah, it's a broken orbital bone. Yeah.
So it's funny how this happens. It falls in WWE's lap. A lot of people thought this was a segue of getting them over to Rumble and Mania to extend the storyline. At the end of the day, it's actually gonna happen because she is gonna miss some time having that heal up. Yeah. I guess we all kind of have the same idea. I would imagine myself, you that watch all the product and have an idea. I think she comes back at the Rumble. I really don't want her to see her win that match. It's too predictable. Maybe the Chamber, or maybe just Rhea blowing through the entire roster, earning that shot, and Liv just kind of dangling things in front of her and just banging out the entire road to Mania and finally getting to the main event. But I think Mania is the blow off. I think these two finally get it done. Rhea gets that belt back, and then I think as we go down the road, you see, the Judgment Day kind of. I hope you see some kind of like they kind of dissipate and go away. The Judgment Day is really, really weird. Colito's on his way out soon. They're kind of it's running on fumes. I like it. It's just not what it was, and it's not. It's every week, obviously, but not what it was like 3-4 months ago with Rhea when you had Damian as well. But I think the blow off is going to be your Rhea and your Liv match. Rhea gets her belt back. I'm sure they have backlash and whatnot, but I think you kind of see Judgment Day dissipate as well. So, what are your thoughts on the injury? Obviously, what do you think kind of what the plans are going to be going in 2025 for those two?
I think it definitely worked to WWE's advantage. I mean, she technically did it to herself because it was on her own headbutt that she broke, which, folks, it may be fixed, but it's not fake. Injuries happen. But, it's just, it works. And I know, and you can talk to The Undertaker about broken orbital bone because he's had both of his orbital bones broken at one point. But, I mean, she'll get some time off. She'll heal up. She'll come back. I don't want to see her win the Rumble again. I feel like that's too predictable. Maybe winning the Chamber. But either way, I think it's going to be something where It's going to culminate at Mania. I wouldn't mind seeing a Liv, Rhea, Raquel, triple threat for the title if Raquel wins either one as well. So, those are pretty much my thoughts on it.
And also, too, I mean, we're running obviously with the thing. Obviously, Raquel's back, and we're running your classic. Running mate eventually going to look at you in turn, and then you got those two, and there we go.
And not to mention, it just solidifies the fact that the NXT parking lot is just the most dangerous place on earth.
Undefeated. Yeah. NXT is undefeated, man. That parking lot, stay out, man. Don't park there when you go to the show, man. That parking lot is undefeated, man.
Yeah.
So many people have been taken out in that parking lot.
Exactly.
Awesome. But I mean, that's really in a nutshell. But you hit on something I didn't want to talk about. I had it written down. It's awesome you talked about it. The WWE ID program, the contracts that have been handed out. This is pretty much the WWE working with a lot of schools and a lot of independent promotions on working on building these guys up and bringing them into the company. Now, devil's advocate. Did WWE do this to corner the market a la Vince back in the day? It's all, if you think about it, they're kind of cornering the market a little bit. Like, okay, if you're doing this, you're working for us. Your people come to our product. You're working toward us.
Well, according to I don't know if it was Fightful or not, but it was some journalist put it out that the way the contracts are going to be structured is whatever prospects are going to be in this program are truly working as independents. WWE's keeping their eye on them. They're paying to get them, the training and everything. AEW can still offer them contracts, but they have to let WWE know and say, hey,
right,
AEW offered us a contract, and then WWE has right of first refusal. Will they use it to their advantage? I don't know. You want to say no because you want to keep it in good faith, but who knows? But honestly, I think this is really good for the indie market because there's so many talents that are out there, and there's so many indie wrestlers that can now get to a higher platform, get to the WWE, or hell, get to AEW. It might help the next generation of AEW superstars too. Because they're going to learn the right way. They're going to learn how to be more hard camera ready and, how to work correctly rather than a lot of these garbage indie promotions. And, I don't hate on a lot of indies because a lot of these, I love minor league, amateur, semi-pro sports.
Same.
I used to do broadcasting for semi-pro football because those guys have the passion because they're paying to play. They don't have the $1 million NFL contracts. It's the same with the indie wrestlers. They're going to learn. There was a guy that used to work at ESPN, Keith Mack. He's the Mac on the indie circuit. Mm-hmm. He and I are good friends. And, he would work his day job, go wrestle on the weekends because he loved doing it. And I want to see a lot of these guys that actually have the passion be able to get good training, get better payoffs, so that they could focus on their chosen craft, as opposed to working 5 days a week and then having to miss training time because you're tired or you're making money. WWE's paying for your training. You could actually put the passion into it.
No,
sorry,
I agree.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. We're good. No, please. So I agree. I think it's good for all of wrestling, to be honest with you. I mean, you look at it, big view, and it's like, oh, WWE. That's why I was asking about the corner of the market. And they kind of are, because it's almost like one of those things when you're on a team and someone's like, hey, you play for the Niners, and the Raiders are like, hey, we'll give you 3 years, $10 million. You go back to Lynch and you go, hey, they offered me 3 and 10. And WWE's like, we'll give you 4 and 18. I guess I'm staying here then. I get that. They want to have their, but you know what? Like you said too, the training's going to be better. The indies win, AEW wins. Anything that's going to better wrestling, I'm for it at the end of the day. And I think it's going to better at the end of the day. And maybe in 2-3 years, AEW comes out with something like this, and they're doing something like that. Those are the things I want to see Tony copy or take a page out of for WWE.
Or
create a
just
program
work together.
Yeah,
I mean,
create an NXT, create a training ground. Bring Ring of Honor back. Use that as a stomping ground or whatever you want to do. But put your guys that you signed from college into somewhere. Don't throw them on the Dynamite. What are you doing? Don't do that. Don't put them. No, you can't do that. Find a training spot. Like we've talked about it before. WCW had the power plant. WWE has NXT, and before NXT, they had Livewire, Velocity, Main Event, Sunday Night Heat.
Yep.
WWE's always had that preliminary show where, hey, you're on the show, kid, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. But like, if you do good here, just ask Lita when she was with SA Rios on Sunday Night Heat.
Yep.
And now she was doing rated R scenes with Edge in the middle of the ring. So it's just like that's how they got it done.
Yep.
So I really hope that's kind of like you said. I'm all for independence. Those guys eating as well, but getting paid as well for their craft because it's not fake, guys. It's scripted. It's not fake.
Exactly.
It hurts. People get hurt. And some guys are out here maybe busting an ACL. They never get back in the ring again. Now they got to go put the fries in the bag at McDonald's. You never know.
Trust me, I'm dealing with a torn meniscus right now, so I haven't even been able to work out. So
it's not fun.
It happens to all of us.
Yep. So, but no, it's exactly those are the things that can happen. Like you hit the wrong way, you're a pop. It's over. Like now you're on the shelf, like in your regular life, let alone wrestling in a ring. So but I'm excited, man. I'm excited. It's gonna be a good week. Next week's gonna be amazing.
Yes,
a lot of good stuff coming up. Obviously, when we talk next, we're gonna be talking Survivor Series, War Games, baby.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully December PLE gets named. Obviously, it's gonna be we're on the road to WrestleMania with day one, and Royal Rumble's coming up as well. So I'm excited. But obviously, before we end this, it's Halloween, right? I gotta know if you had to put one at the top. We talk about a lot of time in wrestling. Who's on the Mount Rushmore? Who's the GOAT? For Halloween candy, who's your GOAT? What's your GOAT candy?
Well, my favorite candy overall is Twizzlers.
Okay.
But you know what? I always loved when going trick-or-treating, getting the full-size bars. And I gotta say Snickers. Snickers, my all-time go-to Halloween candy.
Okay. I like it. I like Snickers. I like the little ones at the big bars. But but the ones I like, if they're the little packages, the big bars, they get the king size.
Yeah.
Always the PB cups. PB cups are my GOAT. They're number one for me. Like I opened up, there's always a candy tax when my girls go trick or treating. So I opened it up. I look inside and I'm like, PB cups. Everyone else can have the rest. I'm taking these.
Well, damn. They were just at Hershey, for NXT Halloween Havoc last week and Monday Night Raw. You get the Reese peanut butter cups straight from the Hershey factory, and you can't get them any fresher than that.
You can't. It was awesome. Yeah, no, it was awesome. Took the kids trick or treating. There's a lot of candy, man. No house is giving out the big size bars. I don't think I do that anymore.
Oh, we had a few around here.
That's what I give out. I give out full size bars. But here you go, guys.
You know what? The best day is tomorrow when all the candy goes on clearance. So
86% off at CVS.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. Awesome. So I'm excited. It's going to be a great week. Next week's going to be cool. We get together again. Vinny, obviously, in a couple weeks. I'm glad we get together to talk, man. I always love talking with you.
Absolutely.
Where can everyone, obviously, as a senior, where can everyone find you on social?
Well, you see my two Twitter tags at Vinny Suds, at Suds Media. I got a whole host of places, podcast notes that I'll put up when this goes on the podcast feed. But for the most part, just at Vinny Suds, at Suds Media. Follow me on Facebook, same name, Vinny Suds. And then YouTube is youtube.com/@SudsMedia or Suds-Media, excuse me. So
awesome. Obviously, if you're watching us, anyone who, if you're from Vinny, you're watching us for the first time, you can find us on X. You can find us on YouTube at Chair Shot Sports. Same thing over on
Instagram. The show a like.
What's up?
Throw this show a like and a subscribe and a notification for whatever channel you're watching.
That's it, baby. Every Thursday, whether it's myself, whether it's Vinny, or it's going to be a collaboration of co-hosts, and someone from the Chair Shot Sports Network. We're gonna get on here. We're gonna throw you some great stuff for wrestling, and a lot of other stuff as well. So, but like I said, Facebook, Instagram, you can find me at Chair Shot Sports, and yeah, find me on YouTube. Shoot us a like, and subscribe, and a follow. We really love it. Cool, man. So awesome. Well, happy Halloween. Obviously.
Happy Halloween to you as well. Yes.
All right. Well, cool. So we will be doing this next Thursday. 8 or 9 o'clock. We'll decide. We'll put it on X. Look for that, and we'll see you guys then.
Sounds good.
All right,
Have a great night, everybody.
Toodles.